Hi, good morning, Stephen, and welcome to Investor Talk. Stephen, you're the president and CEO of Happy Creek Minerals, and I have a handful of questions to ask you, but the first of which is I want to learn a little bit about Stephen Gray. Give us a little bit about your background and how you got to Happy Creek and subsequently the events of the last couple of months, coming in as a new president and CEO, and what your background gave you some leg up and experience in that, and what have you found different about the job than you thought you would find?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a mining engineer by background. I cut my teeth working for Rio Tinto in Australia, working in the iron ore business. So that was fly in, fly out, very much at the coal face kind of work. I decided I wanted to move then into the business side of the business. So came back to Canada, got an MBA, and then worked for Kinross on the M&A and corporate development side for about a decade. And then with Centerra doing similar kind of M&A corporate development work. And then joined Happy Creek only in this past November. So it's a big change to go from working in a big company to a small company. But I think it's an exciting opportunity for me to do something more entrepreneurial, spread my wings a little bit. And Happy Creek is a great company with a great asset. So I think it's an exciting move at an exciting time.
How does that happen when you get put in as a president and CEO? Do you get time to think about that? Do they go to anybody else? Do they go to you specifically? How does that work? And give us a little insight on how things work inside a boardroom.
Yeah, I mean, it happened very quickly, to be honest. But it was Happy Creek is a company that I've followed personally for a while, so I was familiar with the story. Um, but it is a great asset. I think with the recent increase in the tungsten price and some of the enthusiasm behind critical minerals, Happy Creek is well placed to take the next step. And so I'm excited to make that change, and I'm excited for the year to come.
Tell us a little bit about tungsten and certainly the events of the last year or so, and the share price we know is two and a half times what it was a year ago.
Mhm.
And our timing having this conversation is probably better than a year ago. Tell us about tungsten, and then we'll get into your projects.
So tungsten is a niche commodity, absolutely, but it's a very important commodity. It really is a critical mineral. Um, Tungsten is uniquely hard and uniquely dense. And so that makes it very useful in things like drill bits and machine tools. But for the same reason, it makes it very useful in things like tank armor and jet engines and military applications. So it has industrial uses, but it also has national security uses. The issue is the tungsten market is dominated by China. About 80% of world tungsten production comes from China, and there are no operating tungsten mines in North America at all. Uh, so there's huge pressure given some of the geopolitical tensions, let's say, uh, to re-domicile some of that tungsten production into North America, and so that's what we're hoping to do. And we've seen in the last year the tungsten price has literally tripled. So it's a great time for tungsten, and it's a great time for Happy Creek.
And you've got three specific projects in British Columbia. And do you want to tell us? I guess you can start with the Fox project and go to the other two, but tell us what's going on with Happy Creek in British Columbia.
Yeah. So our main project is our Fox project. It's a tungsten deposit. It's a skarn. We've got a resource. It's about 1 million tons at 1% tungsten, which puts it at one of the highest, if not the highest grade tungsten project in the world. Um, we did a modest drill program this past summer. We got a late start, so we weren't able to get as much done as we wanted to do. Um, but we were successful in incrementally extending mineralization at our RC and BN zones, hit some excellent grades, and demonstrated that our deposits are still open both along strike and at depth. And this coming summer, we're hoping to do a much larger program at Fox with the goal of really maximizing the size of our resource so we can then this coming winter update our resource and do a PEA and start changing the conversation from one about tons and grade to dollars, right? And start changing the story from an exploration story to a development story. Uh, so that's what's going to happen at Fox over the next year.
Tell us a little bit about money raised. It's certainly expanded by three or four or five-fold over the last year or two. How are you positioned cash-wise, and what's
Mm-hmm.
this year look like? And
Yeah.
uh, how far is last year's financing going to get you into
Mm-hmm.
this year, and what needs to be done going
Yeah.
forward?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we do have a strong balance sheet. We have about $2 million in cash and another $2 million in marketable securities. So those are the shares in Metal Energy that we received from the sale of our Highland Valley property. Um, so we are in a strong position, but we don't quite have enough to do everything that we want to do this summer. So we are looking at doing another raise in the spring, likely another 5 to 7 million. That will enable us to do a $10 million budget this summer, really hit the deposit hard, do an expanded drill program, and again, as I was saying, expand the resource and do that PEA.
You mentioned summer a couple of times. How is in the British Columbia area? How are we for weather, and is it seasonal, or we can be year round, or how does that work?
It is seasonal at the moment. So we are in the mountains. There is a lot of snow. We're lucky that we have road access to the camp on forestry roads. Um, but we do need a helicopter for the last 2 kilometers to the deposit. That's something we're hoping to change. Um, but it is a seasonal exploration program. When it comes eventually to operations, we won't have those restrictions. It's just a matter of hiring someone to plow the road, which we haven't done. Uh, but exploration for the moment is a seasonal endeavor, and so we operate from kind of late June, early July into the fall.
And I'm going to go to my notes for this one, but the indigenous groups there, what's your relationship like with them? How does that go? How has that been going? And how does that look moving forward? And I wanted to quote the company, but I'll let you speak, and then I'll ask a follow up on that.
Yeah. So the local group is Canham Lake. We have a strong relationship with them, and have for a number of years. They've been very helpful and supportive. And obviously, as our project grows, that relationship will need to grow. But I think we're starting from a strong and respectful foundation. So I look forward to working with them as we move forward. Um, but like I said, we have a strong relationship with them and have for a number of years.
You had mentioned too that Fox was one of the great, quoting the company, one of the great new tungsten projects in the Western world. You may not be wrong in saying that, and certainly the events of the last year or so are showing that. But um, at tungsten anywhere else, I know there's some stuff going on in, I think, Idaho or the Dakotas or Wyoming in the
Mhm.
States, but is British Columbia the area for tungsten exploration in Canada, or is there anywhere else you guys have thought about or looked at?
There's nowhere that we've specifically looked at. We're focused on our project. I mean, we're a small company, and so we need to stay focused. There are other tungsten deposits in Canada, um, but we're the only one that has our combination of grade and also access to infrastructure. Um, and so I think that uniquely positions us in the Canadian space.
And what about the other two? I know we talk about Fox a lot. What about the other two projects you have?
Yeah. So Silver Boss is a great early stage land package we have surrounding Glencore's now decommissioned Boss mine. It was a moly mine that operated in the 80s. Very high grade mine. It's been closed for a number of years now, but that's a very prospective but earlier stage land package. So we're looking forward to doing more work there this summer. Geophysics, prospecting, soil sampling, that kind of stuff. So very exciting property, but much earlier stage. And the same with our Art Hen project. Um, that's a gold exploration project. Similarly, early stage. There are some historic workings where we've done some or taking some very high grade grab samples. Again, hoping to do some early stage work this summer. Very prospective, but the focus is on Fox and expanding the resource on Fox. We're excited about those projects, but they are a secondary focus for us.
Right. And I know zinc and gold and some other things were something you had found along the way, and that's
Yep.
the other two projects that you're speaking about, and they're further down the road and more speculative then.
Yes.
Okay. And to go back to uh, the indigenous, one last question about that. So good relationships, no roadblocks, no hurdles, uh, seems to be workable between both groups.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I mean, we've worked productively with them for a number of years. Um, and yeah, like I said, as the project grows and starts to change from an exploration story to a development story, right, that relationship will need to mature along with the project. But they've been very supportive. I mean, there's nothing that we've wanted to do but haven't been able to do, right? So looking forward to growing that partnership and continuing to work with them.
Terrific. And the balance sheet's okay. And one more time, raise is going to have to come this year for summer development. There's enough to get you through and going up through and until then, certainly. But going forward, more money is going to be needed.
Yeah, with the cash we have on hand, we could do a smaller program this summer, certainly, but our ambitions are higher than that. And so we will look to do a raise again in the spring. Um, But one of the luxuries we have that's kind of unique for a company this size is because we sold our Highland Valley project to Metal Energy, we have not only the shares on hand, but about 6 million of deferred consideration we'll be receiving over the next 4 years. And that's important because those are hard dollars and that's our G&A funded for the next 5 years, right, through the development cycle. So any money that we go to the market to raise, that's not going to my salary, that's going into the ground.
What an absolute pleasure meeting you and speaking with you, and all the best going forward this year. And we will keep a close eye on Happy Creek and TSXV listed, and the symbol is HPY. And absolute pleasure, Stephen. Thank you so much for joining us today.